Hi, I'm Henry Yan, and I'm on the product marketing team here in Microsoft Security. And I'm going to be talking to you today on how you can bolster your SOC with Microsoft's Managed Extended Detection and Response solution. And so when we talk to our customers, it's clear that in the past year, it's been extremely challenging for a lot of SOC and security teams, and they're under a lot of extreme pressure. And a big reason for that is that the cybersecurity landscape is constantly evolving. Cyber threats are becoming more dangerous and more complex. Cyber criminals are launching advanced techniques and using advanced tools that make it harder for security teams to differentiate between what's normal and what's suspicious activity. And even the largest organizations, that have the most resources, that have the most robust security teams, are falling victim to these attacks. And security teams that we talk to, they want to stay ahead of emerging threats. They want to avoid being in the headlines, but it's not an easy task because of just how complex the cyber security landscape has become. And a big reason for that is AI. And AI is being used by cyber criminals to launch a higher volume of attacks and more frequently. And cyber criminals are using AI to automate processes so that lowers the cost and the barrier of entry to be able to launch these high volume of attacks. Cyber criminals are using AI to launch extremely targeted phishing emails that are very convincing and very targeted to certain individuals. They're using AI to launch things like adaptive malware that can adapt to the environment that it's in. So it makes it harder for security teams to defend and mitigate against. And this is, causing security teams to be they're already overwhelmed with alert fatigue and trying to prioritize what matters most. And this high volume of attacks is causing them, giving them even more pressure and trying to figure out what they should focus on and what should they prioritize. And then all of this is compounded with cybersecurity's skills gap that has continued to widen. And a lot of security teams don't have the resources or aren't able to hire the right people quickly enough. So they have under-resourced staff that is leading to burnout or high turnover rate. And this increases the security risk for organizations. And so they need that 24/7 protection, but they just aren't able to hire the right people. And so a solution that's been proven and recognized by analysts and that is increasing in popularity that can address those challenges that I mentioned is MDR, or Managed Detection and Response. And MDR is combines technology and human-led expertise to provide that 24/7 protection along with 37 protection, detection, and response. And a lot of MDR services also provide that proactive threat hunting. And MDR is growing in popularity and being adopted by organizations of all sizes. And a big reason is that it addresses a lot of those challenges that I mentioned. It provides that 24/7 protection so that security teams don't have to hire more staff to provide that. It provides them that continuous and proactive threat hunting so that they can stay ahead of emerging threats before they escalate. And it helps MDR services help organizations filter through the noise and prioritize the alerts that matter the most. And as organizations, their environment has expanded, MDR has evolved into what we call MXDR, or Managed Extended Detection and Response, which builds on MDR but has a broader coverage. And so the key differences with MDR and MXDR is in the scope of coverage. So MDR typically focuses on the endpoints, whereas MXDR focuses beyond endpoints to cover identities, emails, cloud apps, cloud workloads, and networks as well. And we've done research, and in our conversations with analysts, we've come up with some criteria that we think will be beneficial for organizations that are looking to evaluate MDR providers. You might be currently in the market looking for an MDR solution, or you might already have one, but you're looking to validate whether you have the right solution in place, or are there other criteria that you should evaluate. And so we think these are a set of criteria that will be helpful when you're looking at an MDR provider. And the first thing is that, an XDR, I'll use MXDR as an example. The service leverages technology and human expertise. So on the technology side, an MXDR service is going to be leveraging underneath the XDR platform. So it's important that you evaluate what is the XDR platform, a solution that your provider is using, because that will impact the detection and response capabilities. And you want to also double check what is the coverage that they provide, because some providers might claim to be an MXDR solution, but they may only natively have an EDR solution that they're using, and they need to stitch together other solutions to have that coverage. And that could limit the the sort of the functionality or capabilities that the MDR provider might be able to do on behalf of yours, do for you. And ultimately, in an ideal world, the provider of the MXDR service would also be the provider or natively provide that XDR solution as well. And then along the technology side as well, you want to also think about whether that MXDR experience and the XDR solution is built in. And so, for certain customers, they don't want to have to go to another portal or experience for the MXDR side, and then another experience for the MDR solution. So they might want to have that integrated built-in experience. And so that's another thing that you might want to evaluate. And then on the human expertise side, while this might sound obvious, you want to make sure that the MDR provider has the deep expertise in the cybersecurity landscape, paired with that in-depth knowledge of the XDR platform that they're going to be using. So that might sound obvious, but that's definitely something that you want to make sure that you look into. And then I mentioned a lot of MXDR providers may provide threat hunting services, but you want to double check. But also understand what are the capabilities that they provide when it comes to threat hunting. They might say they offer threat hunting, but they might do it on an ad hoc basis. It might be an add-on. They might do it once a month. And to really stay ahead of emerging threats, you need that continuous proactive threat hunting that happens 24/7. And so that's something that you want to consider as well. And what feeds into that threat hunting is access to the threat intelligence. So when you're evaluating a provider, you want to see, do they have access to threat intelligence to stay up to date on the latest threats as well as emerging threats? Because that can impact your detection and response capabilities as well as threat hunting. And then you want to make sure that your MDR provider can provide that 24/7 coverage and that you don't have to hire additional resources. And in order to do that, they usually need to have a global presence. And then also, as your organization expands or has ambitions to expand, you want to make sure that your MDR provider can meet your global scale needs. And then, to combat what cyber criminals are using AI to launch attacks, you want to make sure also that your MDR provider is leveraging the latest in AI and generative AI technologies to improve the efficiency, the detection, response of their service. And so that's something that's important to make sure that they're also keeping up with the attackers by leveraging AI. And then last but not least, while MDR is a managed service, there are times when you might need to talk to someone. You have questions about how the service is working, any changes that you need to make. You also want to be able to access the experts, the security analysts that are providing the service, because you may have questions about a certain alert, or you may want to learn about a new threat that you're seeing. So that's an important criteria as well. And we believe that Microsoft Defender Experts for XDR, which is Microsoft's first-party MXDR service, can help address a lot of the challenges that I mentioned in the beginning, and that also fit the criteria that I just talked about. So Defender Experts for XDR, the service leverages the Microsoft Defender XDR platform, which is an industry-leading XDR solution. And because the experience for both the MXDR service as well as the XDR solution is built in, meaning that you can just go to the Defender portal and you can see both incidents and alerts for both Defender XDR as well as Microsoft Defender Experts for XDR. So you get that integrated built-in experience as well as end-to-end coverage. So Defender Experts for XDR is a true XDR solution. So you get coverage beyond the endpoint to things like identities, email, cloud apps as well. And also, along with the technology, you also have that human expertise with security experts with over 600 years of combined experience. And Microsoft serves billions of customers. And so we have a unique vantage point of what are the latest trends and threats in the cybersecurity landscape. And all of that feeds into what our security experts can provide in terms of the service. And then when it comes to proactive threat hunting, we actually offer a 24/7 proactive threat hunting. So threat hunting that is ongoing on that is ongoing on a continuous basis. So you can truly stay ahead of emerging threats and catch them before they escalate. And all of that threat hunting is powered by our global threat intelligence, which is backed by 10,000 global security experts that are analyzing 84 trillion signals a day. And all of those signals are being pulled in by all of our products and as well as the partner ecosystem. And so we can stay up to date on the latest threats as well as emerging threats as well. And Microsoft is a leader in AI and generative AI technologies, and we're constantly investing and leveraging those services, those technologies back into the Defender Experts for XDR service to make sure that we're getting faster detection and response, we're improving the efficiency, we're at the forefront of looking at things like agentic AI and understanding how we can use that to improve the efficiency of the service. And last but not least, with Defender Experts for XDR, you'll also get a trusted service delivery manager. So sort of like a white glove service where there'll be your point of contact where if you have any questions that can guide you to the onboarding and help you make any changes to your environment. You also get access to Microsoft security experts. If you have any questions about specific alerts, you may want to leverage them to upskill your own security teams or understand if there's a new nation state attack, how that impacts your organization. And I talked about Defender Experts for XDR being a true MXDR solution. And as you can see, you get coverage beyond endpoints to include identities, email, and cloud apps. And we're going to be expanding soon to cloud workloads, starting with servers in Microsoft Defender for Cloud, and also partner network signals like Palo Alto, Fortinet, and Zscaler. And we've seen a lot of growth and adoption from customers with Defender Experts for XDR and a lot of momentum. And I want to share a quick story about a law firm, Davis, Graham and Stubbs, or DGS. And they're a medium-sized law firm based out of Denver, Colorado. And they have around 200 lawyers. And as a law firm, customers place a lot of trust in them. And security is super important because customers have some of their most valuable and sensitive data with them. And so they were getting increased demands from their customers to improve their security. And they were also getting a lot of competition from larger law firms that have more robust security operations, might have more resources. So they had to figure out a way to keep up with the competition as well. And so they turned to Defender Experts for XDR to help improve their security, as well as keep up with the competition. And by using Defender Experts for XDR, it helped them prioritize alerts, filter through the noise, understand what are truly real things that they should focus on. They are able to leverage the expertise of Microsoft security experts to understand what are some trends that other customers or other industries are doing to help improve the security, and that helped them improve their own security posture. And by leveraging Defender Experts for XDR, they also are able to tap into that proactive threat hunting to help them stay ahead of emerging threats and catch them before they escalated into issues. And so this helped them not only improve their security, but also help them keep pace with larger competitors. And their clients, when they saw that they were using Microsoft security services, it gave them that instant credibility and trust as well. And so they saw a lot of benefits from using Defender Experts for XDR. And we also have done some research with analysts. So we did a study with Forrester, a total economic impact study, to understand what is the real business value or impact that organizations are seeing by leveraging Defender Experts for XDR. And from that study, we saw that organizations saw an up to 254% return on investment by using Defender Experts for XDR, either switching from another provider or augmenting their SOC with Microsoft's MXDR solution. They saw an improvement in security posture because their security teams were able to prioritize alerts, focus on the alerts that matter. They were able to leverage threat hunting and threat intelligence to stay ahead of emerging threats before they escalated. They were able to leverage the expertise of experts on demand to better understand how they can make continuous improvements to the security posture. So they ultimately saw a reduction in the likelihood of a breach. And then because they were able to leverage the service, they didn't need to hire additional staff to provide that 24/7 coverage. So they saw improvements in efficiency. And then they could also reallocate some of the time and resources that they had spent on some of these tasks to focus on higher value and strategic work. And so I talked, a lot of this was focused on Microsoft's, MXDR solution, but we do have a vast partner ecosystem of verified partner solutions. And we understand that every organization has unique needs. And so they might have different reasons to have different solutions. And so we want to provide that choice for our customers. So, we also have a list of a great partner ecosystem that you can check out. And so I just want to wrap up today with a link where you can learn more about Microsoft Defender Experts for XDR. You can stay up to date on the latest updates and news around this service. And we hope you check out the service and stay in touch with us. Thank you.